Okay, time to review the Wakizashi that Ronin Katana sent me. This is the Dojo Pro Wakizashi #1. It's being offered for $265 US. And the blade is made of 1060 carbon steel. The carbon content and thereby hardness is about medium for a sword, 0.6%. This is well suited for tatami cutting, also occasional bamboo cutting. The guard and fittings are made of black iron, and it has a brass menuki. The wrap here is silk. It comes with a traditional lacquered scabbard made of wood and buffalo horn. The blade fits snugly, not tightly enough that it won't fall out if you hold it upside down and shake it, but definitely tight enough for practical purposes. The grip is secured with 2 pins, and I found out that the fit is very tight. In fact, I wanted to remove the grip for a customization project, and I figured out pretty quickly that in order to disassemble this, you need a rubber mallet, so I decided to do the review first, just in case I scratch it up or something. It balances fairly close to the guard. Considering the overall length, there's definitely some noticeable blade presence as far as the balance is concerned. When picking it up at first, it might seem somewhat heavy for the size, but I actually think that it's quite an appropriate weight because for such a short blade, you need a bit more heft for decent cutting performance. It cuts quite well. It was tested on soaked beech mats, which are a pretty good substitute for tatami mats, at least if you use about 3 beech mats to approximate 1 tatami mat, a little more than 1 actually. So it's quite well suited for cutting practice. I also did some abusive tests on wood. It handled that pretty well. I only found very minor edge damage. A bit more towards the tip. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Some rolling of the edge, which wouldn't be too hard to fix. The edge retention seems to be a problem because after these tests, it's dulled quite considerably. So it doesn't really want to cut at least thin paper anymore. I can definitely feel there is a burr along the edge in several places. So if you want to use this for tatami or bamboo cutting, you have to be prepared to resharpen it frequently, and there might be some minor damage. Other than that, I have no complaints, especially considering the price. $265 is definitely a budget range. And considering that, I'm very impressed by just how tightly fitted it is. So it's definitely nice to see that. Good work. The finish is simple, but there's nothing wrong with it. There are no cosmetic flaws anywhere. It has a nice satin polish on the blade, and the guard is very smooth. Personally, I'm not a fan of the menuki. Having one on either side may look good, but it just doesn't fit my hand properly, personally. Regardless of how I hold it, it just feels somewhat awkward because my fingers tend to rest on the menuki, and just makes it a little more awkward than it needs to be. But then again, it's all personal preference. It may fit different hands a lot better. So overall, it's quite a nice functional sword. I don't have too much to compare it to because Japanese swords are just not where my main interest is. But just evaluating it on its own terms, it seems pretty well made. The only issue I found was the less than stellar edge retention, but otherwise, definitely have to appreciate how well it's put together, and it works. So for the price, I would definitely recommend it if you're interested in a Wakizashi. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. The guard looks like it was designed by Bob Ross with a happy little butterfly and flowers. To unsheath the scabbard? Unsword the sword, yeah. My brain has been ended rightly.